Hey friends, welcome back to another yoga flow. It is so great to be able to talk to you again live now that my microphone is fixed. We are in the beautiful Cornwall Park in Auckland. It's one of the biggest parks that we have here in New Zealand. You might hear some sheep during the time that we're practicing. It is also very windy here. We've had a week of thunderstorms and rain, but I managed to find some sun, although that comes at the cost of being windy. Today we're going to be working on our Birds of Paradise Asana. It is quite a strong, open, but beautiful balancing posture. If you've got a block, you're more than welcome to grab it. If you don't, that's totally okay. It's just optional. All right, let's get started on our backs. So let's lie down on the spine. Hands come by the sides. You can extend the legs out. You can bend them, pull them in. And just closing down the eyes if you haven't already. Just signaling to our body, our mind, our heart that we are going to be turning inwards for the next wee while. Setting up some time to just be in our bodies, be in our mind. Tuning in with our internal landscape. Just start to take a few deep breaths in and out through the nose. Filling up the lungs, expanding through the ribs, the belly, and the chest with breath. And then completely exhaling, letting go, deflating that internal balloon. And just have a check-in with yourself. How are you doing today? What does it feel like to be you in this moment right now? I'm not judging anything that comes up. Just noticing with no expectations. And if you notice that your mind is occupied somewhere else, perhaps before this practice or after this practice, just notice. And then see if you can draw your attention back to your center. So your body, your breath. And start to draw the knees into the chest, taking your hands around your shins, giving yourself a little squeeze of the knees. Perhaps a little rock from side to side. See if you can find your ujjayi breath, so that constriction of the back of the throat sounds like a wave, sounds like a snore. And then start to extend your left leg out towards the ground. I'm going to bend that right knee so it lands outside the ribs. The right hand might come onto the outside of the thigh, or it might come up onto the outside of the foot, or peace fingers might wrap around the big toe to find a half happy baby. Draw the knee down, but see if you can press the heel up towards the sky or the ceiling above you, pulling the shoulders down. And then start to take some movement, taking the foot outside and then back inside. Using your breath in to expand away. Using the exhalation to come back in. So opening and releasing through the hamstrings and the adductors. the inner of the thighs. And then draw the left hand towards the hip. Let's all take the right foot away, even if you're just holding onto the thigh. Start to draw your eye gaze down towards the left side. So we're encouraging that left shoulder down, bringing some weight into the left side body. Can you press your right heel away just a little bit more? And then come back to center. Let's take the left hand around the right ankle. The right hand might come on top of the shin, and see if you can pull the foot close to you, but press the knee away. So we're finding a reclined pigeon here. A little shift from side to side might feel good. So drawing the right heel towards the left side of the mat, and then bringing it back through center. If the elbow touches the thigh, you might encourage the knee to press away. Nice. And then place the right foot down, extend the left knee up into the chest, and then take it outside the rib to find your half happy baby. So again, maybe the hands stay around the outsides of the thigh, or hand can come around the foot, or the fingertips might clasp the big toe. There we go. Perhaps you start to take some movement here, extending that left leg out and then drawing it back in, using a breath. So in our Vinyasa class in particular, breath links in quite well with our movements. Being intentional with our inhalations to lengthen and expand, and using our exhalations to deepen. And draw the right hand to the right hip, extend the left leg out as far as it feels comfortable. See if you can turn your eye gaze down the right side body. Let's take one more breath here. And then coming back to center, let's extend both of the legs up above the hips. Legs are as long as you can make them. Let's try draw the toes in, so we're flexing the feet, and then point the toes, and then flex the toes, and then point the toes. Start to extend the feet down towards the ground. Keep the lower back on the ground. As soon as you start to lift it off, as the lower back starts to lift off, don't go any further. Take a big breath in to come back through center. Let's try that again. So exhale to lower, as low as you want to, and then inhale to come up. Let's try the side. So taking both feet out towards the side on an exhalation, and then using an inhalation to come back up. One more time. Exhalation to come out, inhalation to come up. So we're finding some natural mobility here. Let's make some big circles now. So start wide, so exhaling to come wide. Circle your feet towards the back of the mat, then take a big breath in to come back up. 2 more times. Exhaling, try to find as wide as you can. Exhale, inhaling to come back up. 1 more time. Then inhale to reach. See if you can lift your hands up towards your feet. Lift the shoulders off the ground, maybe even lift the tailbone off the ground. See if you can reach a little bit higher. Draw the ribs towards the hips. And then lower yourself down. Bring the feet behind your hips. Hands tickle the ankles. Then press through the heels to lift the hips high to find your Setu Bandhasana. Squeeze the glutes here. Draw the knees in slightly. Take one more big breath to lift up tall. And then exhale, roll yourself down. Draw the knees into the chest, take the hands behind the thighs. Start to rock and roll up the spine a few times. So just massaging down the spine and the muscles that wrap around it. And the next time that you come up, let's cross over the feet. Plant the hands down and then find your way back into your Adho Mukha Svanasana. So tucking onto the toes, lifting up the hips. And start to take some movement here. So maybe drawing one heel down, drawing the other heel down. Lifting the hips as high as feels comfortable. Keeping a soft bend in the legs. Eye gaze look in between the feet. Take one more big breath. Nice, and then draw your knees down towards the ground, find a tabletop position. Take a big breath in, sweep the right hand towards the sky. As we exhale, let's thread that hand towards the left side, drawing the right shoulder down, right temple down. We're going to stay here, but extend the left leg out long. It plants down on the ground. The foot is directly in line with the hip. See if you can draw the toes towards the front. Outer edge of that left heel is down. Lift the tailbone towards the sky, so you're encouraging the pelvis to tilt forward. Sorry, one more breath. Then on your next breath, and let's sweep that right hand back towards the sky, and then bring it back down. Start to shift forward and back. So bringing the hips down towards the heels or encouraging it that way. Another option here is to tuck onto the toes, keep the knee grounded, and just to open down the backs of the foot. And another option is to shift back, and as you shift back, lifting up the right knee to hug into the rib cage, and then come back. Just whatever feels best for you. Let's take one more breath. And come back to neutral. We're going to try a little funky transition here. So start to walk the hands back towards the knee. Shifting the left foot back. Let's see if we can plant the right heel down, turn it in slightly to find your skandasana. So that left leg is quite far off the mat. See if you can rotate the left knee and the left toes towards the ceiling or the sky. Hands might come down, they might come to heart center. Press the right knee out over the toes. So very strong opening for the hips and the ankles to begin with. Let's try one more breath. See if you can lift up tall. Then bring the hands down towards the ground. Bring some weight into the hands as you slide that left foot in, cross it behind the right ankle. Find your Uttanasana, cross-legged forward fold. Bend your knees here, draw the chin in towards the chest. Let the upper body hang forward. One more breath. And shift the weight back into the right foot. Spread the toes wide. Start to lift the left foot up into a standing split. So your hands might be on your fingertips. And then using the strength of the back, soft bend in the legs, start to lift the chest high to find a Virabhadrasana 3. Hands come by your sides, engage through the core. Lifting the chest so it's parallel with the ground. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Use your next breath in to start to lift yourself high, reach the arms overhead, knee draws into the chest. And then as you exhale, bring the left foot down, clasp the hands behind the back, draw the knuckles down, open through the heart. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, tip yourself forward, reach the pinky fingers towards the top of the mat. Release the hands towards your shins, take a big breath in, halfway lift. As we exhale, bend the legs, walk your hands out to a plank. Take a breath in here. As you exhale, bend the elbows close towards the body. Take a big breath in to open to baby cobra or upward facing dog. As we exhale, draw the knees down, find your tabletop position again. Nice, let's try that on the other side. So take a big breath in, sweep the left hand high. As we exhale, thread the left hand towards the right. So pressing away with the right hand slightly to draw the top shoulder back. Keep the upper body exactly where it is. Start to extend that right leg long. So the heel plants on the ground, toes turn towards the front. Heel is exactly in line with the hips. Draw the quad up the leg, so kneecap slides up. Keep trying to revolve the top shoulder back. One more breath. Then use your next breath in. Sweep the left hand up towards the sky. As we exhale, bring the left hand down. Start to shift forward and back. Again, you can tuck onto your toes here to open the back of the heel. Another option here is to slide back and lift the knee off just for more of a crutch position. One more breath. And then start to walk the hands back. We're going to try that funky transition again. So start to draw the right heel back and then it slides out slightly. Left heel draws in slightly. Finding your skandasana. Right leg is long. Rotate the right knee towards the sky. Same with the toes. Press your left elbow into your left leg to open the knee wide. Again, hands can always come to heart center. Squeeze the glutes, squeeze the quad. One more breath. And then we'll bring the hands down towards the ground. Start to lift the hips as you draw the right heel behind the left, so finding your cross-legged Uttanasana. Again, soften the knees here, draw the crown of the head down towards the ground. One more breath. And start to bring the weight back into that left leg. Take a big breath in to start to sweep the right toes high, standing splits. Draw the right hip down slightly, soft bend in the left leg. Then use the strength of your back to lift the chest up so it's parallel with the ground. Virabhadrasana 3. Engage through the core, reach the fingertips back towards your right foot. Crown of the head comes forward. One more breath. Then use your next breath in to lift the hands high, lift the right knee high, come to standing. Exhale, bring the hands down behind the back, plant the right foot. Take a big breath in to open and lift tall. As you exhale, tip from the hips, soft bend of the legs, reach the pinkies forward. Release the hands towards your shins, take a big breath in, halfway lift. As we exhale, walk the hands back towards the front. Breathe in. As we exhale, bend the elbows close towards the body, come halfway. Use your next breath in to find your Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhaling, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Just noticing where your concentration is at the moment. If it's floated away, see if you can bring it back. On your next in-breath, let's walk our feet up towards the top of the mat. Exhaling Uttanasana, feet together or slightly apart. Bring the hands down towards the ground, walk the feet out towards mat distance if you have one. Turn the toes out slightly, start to bend the knees, draw the hips down towards the ground. Malasana squat. Hands might come towards heart center. We want to find our long spine, so use your in-breath to reach the crown of the head tall. Use your exhalation to ground the tailbone towards the earth beneath you. Shoulders roll back. Let's take 2 more breaths here. So really opening through our hips as well as our ankles if they're feeling quite tight. So bring the hands towards the ground, lift the hips up on a breath in, walk the feet out and exhale, forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift, Adho Uttanasana, shoulders in line with hips. As we exhale, fold forward again. Inhale to rise, lift both arms, lift the eye gaze. As we exhale, hands by the sides, Tadasana. Let's try a few rounds of Surya Namaskara A. We'll just lift up the pace a little bit. Take a big breath in, lift both hands high. As we exhale, bend the knees, tip yourself forward. Inhale, halfway lift, lead with the crown of the head. As we exhale, place the hands down, step or jump back through your Chaturanga. Elbows coming close. Use your next breath in to open, squeeze the glutes here. As we exhale, come up and back, downward facing dog. Keep softening the knee joints, and it's just going to encourage the tailbone to lift. On your next in-breath, we can step, we can bend our legs, look forward, and hop in between our feet, and in between our hands. Exhale to fold forward. Inhaling, halfway lift. Long spine here. As we exhale, fold again, tuck the chin in. Inhale to rise, lift both arms above the head, lift the eye gaze. As we exhale, Tadasana. Inhale to rise again. This is all at your own pace. Exhale to fold. Inhaling, halfway lift, lengthen. As we exhale, place the hands down, step or jump back, Chaturanga. Inhale to open, wrap the elbows behind you. As we exhale, come up and back, downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. One breath. Next breath in, you can step, you can hop, bend the legs in between the hands. Exhale to fold forward. Inhaling to rebound, halfway lift. Exhaling to root down. Inhale to rise, rippling through the spine, lifting high, press the palms. Exhale, hands by the sides. Last time, use your breath. Movement with breath. Exhale, let it go. Inhaling, lengthen. Exhaling, placing the hands down, we'll meet back in our downward facing dog. So if that means that you just want to step back into it, if that feels more nourishing for you, then please do. One breath. Either step or jump in between your hands on your next in-breath. Exhaling, coming down. Inhaling, halfway lift, hands to shins. As we exhale, fold yourself forward. Inhale to rise, lift the arms, lift the eye gaze. Exhale, hands by the sides, Tadasana. We've got one main sequence and we're just going to move it through once each side. Start to shift the weight into the right foot. Let's find our Vrikshasana, our tree pose. So the left heel might be on the ankle, might be up on the shin, or it might be up on the thigh. See if you can press the heel firmly into the leg and the leg firmly back into the heel. Now you can say with your hands down, maybe the hand presses onto the thigh to open the knee up. If you wanted to try play with your balance, see if you can bring both hands out in front. Lift up tall through the spine. Start to take that left hand behind you, drawing your eye gaze around just as far as feels comfortable, and then coming back to center. Ooh, definitely off balance. Let's try the other side. So using your breath in to start to draw that right hand back, and then coming back to center. Well done. Take a big breath in to reach the left knee high. As we exhale, take a big circle wide with that knee joint and start to press the left heel away. Virabhadrasana 3, hands feet behind. Let's take 1 or 2 more breaths here. Find that length through the spine. Reach the crown of the head forward. Reach the toes behind you. And then when you're ready, take a long step back with the foot, place the heel down to open yourself out. Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. So we want a long stance here. Right heel is in between that back left foot. Arms are long, looking over the right fingertips. On your next breath in, let's reverse our warrior. Left hand comes down the left thigh, eye gaze comes up and over with the hand. Keep the bend in the right knee. Lifting up and out of the waist. Use your next breath in to bring the right elbow down towards the ground. Left hand comes up and over. Utthita Pajvakonasana, extended side angle pose. Now we've got a few different options here. We can bring our right hand down towards the ground, or to a block. You can bring the block down somewhere in between, or option to bind your right hand here by bringing the shoulder down in front of the right knee joint, taking the left hand behind maybe to begin with, and if you wanted to try for the full bind, wrapping the hands behind to meet. If you do have the bind, press the shoulder into the leg to spin the left shoulder open. Let's try 2 more breaths here. You're not leaning and dumping down onto that leg, you're strong and lifting away. Wherever you are, even with the bind, start to lengthen through that right leg to find your Trikonasana. So if you do have the bind, you've still got it here if you can, but you can always bring the hand down towards the ground or a block. The most important thing is we try find that long spine and that left hip is opening. Let's try 1 more breath. See if you can lift your eye gaze here. Nice. Release the bind if you have it. Come up through center. Start to turn the left toes towards the back corner of the mat and send the hips down towards the left heel. Right toes turn up, right knee turns up. Skandasana. Another option here, hands down, hands up to heart center, or we can find a twist by taking the left shoulder in front of the left knee, extending the left hand out and reaching the right hand away. Try to meet your eye gaze towards the right hand or the right big toe, and it's totally okay if your left heel is off the ground. Let's try 1 more breath. Bring the hands down towards the ground and start to walk the hands back towards the top of the mat. Frame out your right foot, tuck onto the left toes, then take a big breath in to sweep the right toes high, 3-legged dog. Bend the knee, open the hip. Eye gaze on the left ankle. And then when you're ready, take a big breath in, start to roll through the spine, draw the right knee towards the right elbow, and then take the right foot outside the right hand. Soften the left knee down, kneeling lunge. You can stay here, or we can find a twist by taking the right hand towards the right thigh and pressing away, or we can bend the left knee and take the right hand around to clasp at the foot, encouraging that foot to come a little bit closer. Try to revolve that right shoulder back. And then releasing the left foot down. Release the right hands if you have it up. Tuck onto the left toes. Take a big breath in to sweep the right foot back. Option to hover the right foot off. And then as we exhale, bend the elbows. Inhaling to rise. Exhaling to come up and back. Downward facing dog. Bending the knees, letting the heels sink down. Shoulders come up through the spine. Even weight through both of the hands, spread the fingertips wide. On your next breath in, let's walk, or we can bend our legs and hop in between our hands. Exhale to fold forward. Inhaling, halfway left hands to shins. As we exhale, fold again. Inhale to rise, lift the arms, lift the eye gaze. Feel that length through the spine. As we exhale, hands come by the sides, Tadasana. We're going to try that one more time on the other side. So start to shift the weight into the left foot. Find a steady eye gaze, point for your eye gaze. The right heel might come towards the shin or the thigh, maybe it stays on the ground. Again, pressing both the heel and the leg into each other. Lift tall through the spine. Draw the ribcage in. You could stay with the right hand on the thigh. If you wanted to play with your balance, see if you can extend both arms out long. Use your breath in to start to rotate the right hand behind. Keep lifting tall up through the ankle. And then come back to center when you're ready. Let's try the other side. So rotating the left hand around, just throwing us a little bit off center to challenge our stability. And then come back through center. Take a big breath in to reach the right knee towards your chest, hands extend up. Then rotate the right knee out. Start to pivot the hips down towards the ground. Virabhadrasana 3, hands sweep behind you. So engaging through the back of the body here, squeezing the glutes, drawing the shoulder blades behind us, reaching the fingertips behind. Draw the right hip down slightly. One more breath. Then take a long step back with the right foot. Draw the right toes, the right heel down. Open yourself out, Virabhadrasana 2. So your right toes are pointing towards the side, left toes are pointing towards the front. Shoulders are soft, arms are really long here. See if you can bend a little bit deeper into that left leg. On your next breath in, let's flip the left hand, reverse your warrior. Right hand down the right thigh or the shin, left hand up and over. Peel the left rib off the hips. Use your next breath in to take that left elbow towards the left thigh. Right hand comes up and over. Utthita Parsvakonasana. Again, you could stay up here. You could always reach the left hand down towards the ground or a block. If you'd like to try a bind, even just a half bind, you could start by taking the right hand behind the hips, clasping close towards the left hip or the left thigh. If you want to try the full bind, draw your shoulder down. Take the left hand behind the thigh and work your way to clasp fingertips or palms. Roll that top shoulder back, press the elbow into the thigh. Lift your eye gaze. Let's try one more deep breath here. Wherever you are, start to lengthen through that left leg. Bound Trikonasana. All the hands might be wide. Keep revolving that top shoulder back, top hip back. Pressing even weight through both heels. One more breath. Release the bind if you have it. Start to lengthen yourself up. Then turn the right toes towards the back corner of your mat, sinking the hips down towards the right heel. Left toes, left knee points high. Engage through the left quad here. Again, you can stay with the hands on the ground, hands at heart center. You could always slide a block underneath, Or if you want to try a twist, draw the right shoulder in front of the right leg, extend the right arm out, left arm up, eye gaze lifts. Another option here if you wanted to try is another bind. I'm going to see a few of these today by wrapping both hands around the knee. One more breath. If you have the bind, let's release it. Start to walk towards the top of the mat. Hands frame out the foot, tuck onto the right toes, take a big breath in to sweep the left toes high, three-legged dog. And as you exhale, bend the knee, open the hip. Foot is close towards the glutes. Try draw the left shoulder down, soften the right knee here. One more breath, see if you can peel that left knee away even higher. Then use your next breath in to ripple through the spine, draw the left knee into the left elbow. Then take the foot outside the hand. Soften the right knee down. A little shift from side to side if that feels good. You can stay down, or you could take the left hand towards the left thigh and press yourself away. And if that feels okay, you might want to try a quad stretch by drawing the right foot up. Maybe the left hand comes around the right foot. That's a little counter pose. We've done a lot of hip opening and flexion of our hip joints, so it's nice to get a bit of extension through the hip flexor. And if you have the foot, let's release it. Bring the hand down towards the ground, tuck onto the right toes. Take a big breath in to send that left leg back, option to hover the foot off the ground, chaturanga, exhale. Inhaling to open, and then exhaling to roll yourself up and back, downward facing dog. Take a big breath in through the nose. Big breath out through the mouth. Move it through. On your next breath in, either walk or you can bend your legs, hop towards the top of the mat. Exhale to fold. Inhaling, halfway lift, hands to shins. As we exhale, let's fold again. Inhale to rise, lift the arms, lift the eye gaze. Find that extension, feel that length. Exhale, hands by the sides, Tadasana. Okay, we're going to work into our birds of paradise, playtime, fun time. There are a few different ways that you can enter it. I'll just demonstrate the options for you to begin with. So the first option that you can try is just to lift the knee outside and take the hand around the thigh. And maybe from here you start to extend the toes and work that way. If you wanted to try a bind, there's a few different ways you can try it. The first way, which probably is the most simple way, is to start with your extended warrior and taking the hands around the back of the thigh. And that way you can step the other foot and transfer the weight using the strength of the back, lifting yourself up and keeping that bind and maybe extending from there. Another option you can do is just starting from your wide squat. Option here to use your block to bring it underneath the foot, and that just lifts the hips a little bit higher to get the bind, and then transfer the weight from there. You're trying to keep the spine as long as you can in that process, and once you're at the top, see if you can draw the shoulder back. We'll have a few minutes to play, have a few rounds of breath on one side, a few rounds of breath on the other side. You can even just pause the video if you wanted a little bit more time to play, but make sure you get about equal playtime on each side. So really trying to wrap that shoulder down as far as you can, and that's going to allow your hands to bind away. And maybe just finding the bind within this squat is where you're at today. And you just work on holding here and maybe a little lift off. It actually takes quite a while to be able to come up to standing. Once you come up to standing, you might even try and play with lengthening out as well. So drawing the shoulder blades back, lifting up tall through the spine, engaging through the core. It's quite a fun one to play with, hey? All right, we'll just have like another minute or so. Again, you can always pause the video. If you're feeling ready to rest and if this is not for you today, just find your way into a forward fold. You might have a little bit of a wobble around at the top. You always tend to have one side that's a little bit more easeful than the other side. Okay, let's all bring our feet down. Let's find a forward fold. So bending the knees, tipping from the hips. Take a big breath in. Big breath out, move it through. It's noticing any sensations that are happening in the body after, quite a big posture. I'm going to start to slow things down a bit here. And you start by crossing the left ankle behind the right to find that crossed Uttanasana again. Draw the chin in towards the chest, eye gaze behind you slightly, bend that back knee. You could stay here, or you could start to walk the hands over towards the right side of your mat, extending the left fingertips away a little bit further. See if you can draw the left hip behind you. So a big opening through the left side body. Breathing into the left rib. And then walk the hands back to center. We're going to tuck onto the left knee, find your way down onto your sit bones. Now a few different options. You can extend the left leg out and then take the right foot up and over the thigh, or you can cross the left foot around so both sit bones are on the ground. Take a big breath in to lift up tall. As we exhale, let's wrap the elbow around the outside of the thigh and twist yourself towards the right side. See if you can transfer the weight towards the back of the right side, over the right shoulder. Using your inhalation to lift up tall and using your exhalation to wrap a little bit further. Let's come back through center. We will find a funky transition. So start to lean towards your left, place the hands onto the ground, lift up, turn towards your back, pivoting on your feet, then keep turning, then place the right knee down so that the left foot is over the right thigh. Again, you can always extend that right leg out if you would like. Take a big breath and lift. As we exhale, take the hand around the thigh and twist. Another option here is to take the right elbow on top of the thigh. Sorry, to the side of the thigh. Keep pressing the sit bones into the ground to find the length through the lower spine. One more breath. And then come back through center. Let's extend that left leg out just a little bit. Start to bring some weight into it. And then slide the right foot behind the left. Soften the knees. Again, tipping your hips, your pelvis forward to lengthen the tailbone high. Start to walk your hands towards the left side, extending the right fingertips away even more. Drawing the right hip back. One more breath. Bring the hands back to center, uncross the feet, take a big breath in, halfway lift. As we exhale, bring the hands down, step or jump back through your chaturanga. We will meet in a tabletop position. Once you met yourself in the tabletop position, cross over the ankles, find your way into your sit bones. Oh, it is very windy here today. Let's start by extending the right leg out. The left heel is either close towards the hips or it's a little bit further away, but we want it about a fist distance in between the thigh. Marichyasana variation A. So take a big breath in. As we exhale, start to walk yourself forward. This might be as far as you want to go today. Another option is to find a bind So lots of binds here. If you're trying that, just draw your shoulders forward, wrap the left shoulder around the left shin. See if you can take the right hand behind your back to meet with the left. So you're using this bind as a way to encourage the length of the spine and the heart to shine towards the thigh. Flex the right toes here, engaging through the right quad. One more breath. And then start to walk yourself back. We're going to go back to our twist. Take a big breath in to lift. As we exhale, wrapping the right elbow around the thigh. There are other options here if you'd like to try. You can find a bind. Again, lots of binds. And what you can try to do, maybe you start by taking that left hand around towards the right hip, right inner thigh. If you want to try a full bind, you could see if you can wrap the right hand in between the keyhole, between your calf and the thigh. Keep flexing that right foot back. See if you can lift up a little bit taller. Nice, come back to center. We'll try that all on the other side. So extend the left leg long, draw the right foot in. Flex the left toes here. Take a big breath in to lift. As you exhale, let's walk ourselves forward. So again, you might just be up a little bit further. Or if you wanted to try find a bind, maybe just start by taking the right hand behind. You might just extend it towards the side, or you could see if you could wrap it around. Left hand might come behind. Another alternative, if you can't quite reach yet, is to take a strap or a piece of fabric to hold in between. 2 more deep breaths. And then release the bind if you have it. Come back through center. Let's find our C variation of our Marichasana. Take a big breath in to lift. As we exhale, just twisting towards the right. Again, you can just stay with the elbow wrapped around the thigh. If you would like to try a half bind or a full bind, you might start by taking the right hand around towards the left. Maybe you stay here, or maybe that left hand slides in. The further the foot out, the easier it is to find that bind position. Find a steady eye gaze. And then come back through center. Let's take the feet wide, not super wide, not as far as you can go, perhaps just a little bit further from the mat. We've got a few different options here. You could just walk yourself forward, or we can find a Kumasana, I believe it's called a turtle pose. And what you can do with that is basically bend the knees to begin with. You want to start to fold yourself forward, keeping that spine as long as you can, and then reach the hands out towards the side or towards the back slightly. Okay, and maybe you just stay here and try to revolve the shoulders back. If you feel like you have space, maybe you start to slide the heels out or draw the hips back so that your chest lies down towards the ground. Keep trying to flex the toes here. This is quite an intense pose. It's a deep forward fold, but we're pretty warm. Let's take 2 to 3 more breaths wherever we are. Keep encouraging the crown of the head to reach forward. It was a pretty tricky one to get out of, so I had the person in class be like, come help me out. But if you don't have anyone else around you to help, to see if you can, wiggle your hands out. You might try to bring your feet back. Nice team. Let's bring the feet about hip width distance. Hands come behind. Let's take a big breath in to lift the hips up high, press the heels into the ground. You could stay with the feet underneath the knees, or if you wanted to, you could try to reach out one foot so it's long. Try to draw the toes down, and then maybe the other foot comes out as well. Keep squeezing the glutes, draw the shoulders onto the back body. Lift the hips as high as you can. Take one more breath. And then lower yourself down the spine. Well done. Let's come onto our backs. If you want to, you can pop on a layer or some clothes. So taking the hands behind the back, rolling yourself down. It's signaling that we're pretty close to our Shavasana. So let's take the feet about mat width distance, bend the knees, take the hands out wide, and just draw the knees from one side and then to the other. Just taking the knees as low as they feel like going to. A few different options here. If there's any other particular asana that you would like to try before your end of practice, go for it. If you'd like to try your waterfall, you can bring the feet back up over your hips. If you would like to try a shoulder stand or a Salamba Sasangasana, not Sasangasana, Salamba Savangasana, it's close enough, just have to look at my notes here. You could start by lifting the feet up high, rocking your hips forward, and then taking the hands around your back. Scoop the belly in, lifting the hips high, trying to create a long spine from your spine. Maybe you stay here, or you could try find a halasana by taking your feet up and over your head. Trying to keep the hips stack over the hips. The hips stack over the shoulders, sorry. Hands can stay up at the hips, or you could take them down towards the ground. Maybe they clasp. Keep drawing the belly into the spine. If you feel any pain within the neck or the shoulders or anywhere down your spine, please back out a little bit. You can stay here as long as you would like. Otherwise, we will start to roll down our spine as slow as you can. And finding our way into our Shavasana in whatever way that is for you today. So maybe that's with your legs extended out, maybe it's with knees bent. You could take this seated, you could even lie down on your belly. And just use this time to reconnect with the breath. And if your palms are facing towards the ceiling, just feeling the natural curling in of the fingers towards the palm. Noticing where you may be holding tension, not only in a physical space, but also in your mental space. Acknowledging it, and then seeing if you can let it go, let it dissipate, completely relax your different energy spaces so that you can be more present here. We'll be here for a couple of minutes of silence. And reconnect with your breath. Noticing the cyclical motion of the inhales and the exhales. And perhaps ask yourself, is there anything more that I can let go of here? Any tension within the body, any tension within the mind or the heart space? Any narratives that aren't serving me, aren't helpful? A lot of our yoga practice is about detachment and letting go, so that we do have more space for new energy to come through, for more helpful, more positive feelings, sensations, thoughts. Let's bring some motion back into our body. Maybe wiggling the toes, wiggling the fingertips. And just being really gentle here. Perhaps circling the ankles, circling the wrists. Perhaps this turns into fuller movements, more open or more closed movements, perhaps a full body stretch or drawing the knees into the chest. And we'll find a way into a seat in your own time. There is no rush. We'll just land with our eyes closed. Bringing the hands to heart center. Acknowledging yourself, honoring yourself and this practice. And I thank you all so much for joining me, for practicing with me, especially if you're still here. And I hope to move with you again soon, breathe with you again soon. Namaste.